Can you hear me, Jeffrey?
I can, Robert, but I can't see you.
No, yes, you can, Jeffrey.
No, I can't.
Jeffrey, you can hear me and see me. How's that? And I'm just going to change my son's name to mine. Little son of a gun.
Robert, this is such a thrill. I'm such a fan of yours. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Oh, thank you for having me, Jeff.
And you just talked to my best friend of 20 years.
He told me to send his love.
Isn't he the greatest?
Tony's great.
I've known him for over 20 years, and I don't know what to do without him. You know.
He told me, he said, you guys are going to talk to my best friend in a minute. So,
oh, wonderful. Well, Robert, James Bond, The Goonies, Die Hard, jazz performer, talk show host, activist. We have a short time, but I want to try to touch on a lot of your career and also your new movie today, I Love Us. So let's begin with that. I Love Us. Tell me about your character in this film.
I play Harvey Silverman, and he is he's a jeweler, and he's a thief. And I have a son, Danny. Danny A plays my son, Sammy. And so he gets jammed up because of his gambling, his degenerate gambling. And he has to pull off a bunch of heists to pay back the head Russian guy, who's my old-time friend, Ira, played by Ilya Baskin. And he meets with this wonderful woman, Katie Cassidy. And Sammy does, Danny's character. And it's a crime drama, but it's a family drama. It's romantic, it's heartbreaking. It's a father-son. It's the man who falls in love, who loses love, who now has to raise two teenage girls and have them accept him. And that's the heart of the story, that acceptance, his love affair, of course, to the woman, and then the difficulty, if you ever had a stepchild in your life, it's difficult to have them accept you. And this really portrays that and the pain he goes through. And Danny A did a terrific job acting and directing this picture.
Yeah, I am speaking to him on Friday. I was wondering, could you give me a story from the set? What would you like me to kind of ask him from your point of view?
From my point of view, that's
like his style. What's his style like?
His style is classic style. Danny to me is like, you know, when those guys came over from different parts of Europe, all the mishpukas, they came to create the film industry, and they loved movies and they loved telling stories. This is what he does. You know
Billy
what I mean?
Wilder comes to mind. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and there's no fanfare with Danny. You know what I mean? He's about getting it done. He's like a force of nature. He gets it done. COVID problems, no problems. He's going to get the job done, and he puts on many hats. And he picks scripts and characters, and he has those directors of the past had a crew of people they worked with, and you get to play different characters. It gives him a comfort level, and I think it lets you try, because I put on an Israeli accent for this character because I'm playing his father. So he's very he has his vision, but you can it's fun to work with him. So far, I've done several films with him. One playing an Irish priest, and now here I'm playing this kind of Yiddish gangster.
It was great. It was a great running gambit of emotions. I enjoyed it a lot. So you did a great job.
You saw the film, right?
Oh yes, actually, yeah, I saw it last week. Yeah.
Oh, really? Was there a screening or a screener?
No, I saw a screener. I saw it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you did a great job. And
thanks.
If you'll indulge me, watch this. Boom.
Oh, nice.
I was born and raised in Las Vegas, Robert. So my family came here in the 1950s. And I was lucky enough to see Frank Sinatra at the Golden Nugget when I was a teenager in the 1980s. And I grew up in a household that I started with, I grew up in the 80s with punk rock and rock and roll and new wave. But I started as a little boy going through my parents' record collection. There was Dean Martin, there was Frank Sinatra. I heard those first. So I have been watching you on YouTube for days. When I knew you would agree to this interview, you're just amazing. You really are.
Thank you.
And I was wondering, did you ever play Vegas? And if you did, I'm embarrassed that I missed you.
Yeah, I played the Venetian. I headlined
Did you
the Venetian.
really?
We had a billboard on 15, and I had 100 and whatever, the whole side of the Venetian, two different Davi sings Sinatra, and on the billboard by, the Venetian Bellagio. And I then did the Orleans. I did 4 nights with Don Rickles. The last time he was actually doing his standing up performance.
No kidding.
After that, he got a little ill, and he was sitting down doing the show.
I'm very in tune with my city and what's going on. I'm embarrassed that I missed you. I really did.
Yes,
me too.
I'm sorry. I wish
sorry.
you had been there, because you would have been quite. Then I think my first show at the Venetians, a great guy, Felix Rappaport.
I know Felix. He was at MGM for years.
Yes, Felix came to my show, and he wanted me over at the Mirage, but then he left the Mirage, and he went to Foxwoods Casino. And for 5 years, as he was Foxwoods, I was there every year. And then, he passed away 2 years,
Right.
year and a
Yeah.
half
Sad.
ago, 2 years ago. Yeah.
But
Great
Robert,
guy.
we've got the Smith Center now, one of the greatest performing arts centers in the country, and our jazz cabaret, Myron's Cabaret, Myron Martin, who runs the Smith Center. There's a venue waiting for you, and
They have never gotten in touch with me, and
I'm gonna call them. I'm gonna say, look, when things start, settling down,
yes, yeah,
that place is one of the greatest intimate little places for jazz music that you've ever seen. I've seen some great acts there, but watching you, I can't watch you on YouTube anymore. I need to see you in person singing. Okay.
yeah. There's an excitement there,
Yes, absolutely.
maybe because of the acting career, the film career, the whole 9 yards.
Oh, it is. And I was so thrilled also to be at the Encore eating at Sinatra's. Have you had the pleasure of eating there?
Yes.
And I mean, I almost fainted when I saw his Oscar from Here to Eternity. I'm just, and my family's like, what do you do? I'm just taking all these pictures with it, And,
So
but this town is just.
Well, I did my first film with Frank.
Yes.
Contract on Cherry Street.
All I could think of was Cherry Street. I'm a little nervous here, but yes. And how was that experience?
Oh, it was fantastic. I mean, just think about this: Italian-American kid, half Sicilian, half Napolitan. Like your friend, he's half Sicilian. His father was from Catania, Tony, and the other one from Tuscany, other side Tuscany. But my father was from Sicily and Naples. My mother was from Naples. But so there was an immediate rapport between Sinatra and myself. And like you said, I listened to his music from in utero, from in my mother's womb, and he was an iconic figure for the Italian-American community, because he was the first. I mean, his contribution to music, of course, and then to film, and Italians were no longer greaseballs and wops and gangsters. They were now singers and leading men, partly with him and Dean Martin and Perry Como, those guys, those trailblazers. But what he did for his social commentary, first artist really to come out against anti-Semitism and racial bigotry. He fought a vehement protector of Israel. Even when he died, he had made sure money went to some of their organizations. And he and I became good friends. And he was a good friend of Cubby Broccoli's. And I used to have lunch with Frank Sinatra, or dinner with Frank, Cubby Broccoli, and a guy named Sidney Korshak, who was considered the most powerful man in Hollywood, Sidney Korshak, at one time.
Amazing. My whole family's adopted, my brother, my sister, and myself. And for Christmas about a year or two ago, at my age, they did a 23andMe, and it came back that I was Sicilian.
Really?
Yeah, it's because they always told me I was Italian growing up, but they officially, when I got the DNA report back, I'm an Italian Northern Jew,
Oh, great.
Eastern European. Yeah. So I always had a passion for Italian and for the culture. And I love, the comedian Brad Garrett. I interviewed him years ago, and he told me, he opened for Frank Sinatra. He told me the greatest Frank Sinatra story. He did his opening act, and he goes, "Hey, everybody, stick around. Frank will be right out." And some Goombas came backstage and and he tells the story. He's like, "Why are you telling them to stick around for Frank?" And he's like, "They came here for Frank." How Brad Garrett's voice goes, "They came for Frank." And he goes, "Yeah, I told him." He goes, "Why would you tell him to stick around?" I never forgot that story, so. But I'm glad you're keeping Frank's.
That was a good catch by the boys. I wonder if Frank was backstage going, "What did this son of a bitch just say to me?"
Yeah, he's like, "What do you mean tell him to stick around?"
Stick around for you? Who the hell are you?
I'm glad you're keeping that kind of music alive and Frank's memory alive, because it's a true tribute to what you do for his honor, for his memory.
Oh yeah, I mean, he was, it's not an impersonation or anything. It's just I talk about his contribution to society, to music, and you know, they made me an honorary citizen of my father's hometown in Sicily, Torretta, a couple of years ago, because I was the guest artist on the Italian version of The Voice. It was me one week and Ariana Grande the week after.
No kidding.
Yeah, and that was a big thrill for that. And have you been to Sicily yet?
I have not been to Italy at all yet. It's on my bucket list. You know, I'm gonna go.
You'll love it.
Don't worry, I'm gonna go. I just want to briefly touch on your love of radio and also your podcasts and everything like that. You're just a busy guy. When do you slow down?
You know, it's difficult, but I slow down probably about, 10 o'clock at night, put the jacuzzi on, get a cigar, and I just soak in there. And then, do that for 45 minutes or so, collect the day, collect my thoughts, and then start up again. And I'm directing a film now, as
Are you really?
I'm in pre-production on it. Yeah.
When I started my career 25 years ago, I did my own radio show for like 3 years. And I'm telling you, and I've been in television for 25 years. Nothing is more difficult than radio, the prepping and the preparation. And people don't understand how difficult to do radio.
It's tough. It's tough.
I mean, it's a commitment. It's a big commitment. Television, 20 minutes a week or whatever, right? But radio, there's no fooling around.
Television, when you're doing a TV series, when you're acting, of course, but it's not easy. You can't sit there and just imagine, but it's right now I'm slimming down on that because I have to go to Serbia to direct this film, So,
excellent. Well, I'd love to talk to you when you're finished with it. I'd love to talk to you.
Yes, absolutely. Okay.
And I could talk to you all day, Robert, but I'm going to let you go. But finally, I just have to say, you do the best Arnold Schwarzenegger impression. I mean, I've heard a lot of impressions.
Yeah, but where did you hear this here now? Tell me this, Jeffrey. What are you talking about Arnold Schwarzenegger here? I remember I did Raw Deal with Robert Davi here. He was fantastic actor.
Oh my gosh, that's just spot on. Brilliant.
Yeah, he was a good friend of mine. We haven't seen each other in a while, and we differ in terms of some of our, environment. Yes, we're the same, I guess, but some other things, it's difficulty.
Yes. Well, these are difficult times.
It's difficult times. Yeah. So frightening. We should be able to, and it's, look, we could have fun. We can vehemently criticize each other, but at the end of the day, we're all Americans.
Absolutely.
And that's what we're forgetting in today's society.
I totally agree. We could have our differences, we could have discussions, but in the end, we're all Americans.
Yeah. I mean, you think about Sinatra, you talk about that day. He went from being a bleeding heart liberal Democrat to a conservative. And Hollywood at the time had more outspoken conservatives that were also, very strong influences. There are a few now, but today, with all this critical race theory and the crying for diversity, the only thing that they don't seem to want is diversity of thought. And that's where the crime is. That's where it's difficult. And also the demonization of of different races, of our, because of color again. And it seems like we're going backwards.
Or even going back in people's history. And if they said one thing 40 years ago, time to erase them. I was just at John Wayne Airport, in LA doing a job. And the idea to change John Wayne's name off of the airport after all these years because something he said in Playboy 40 years ago, it's just, this cancel culture is ridiculous.
Yeah, you cannot, they say woke, and I say it's lobotomized. I says, you can't be woke, you have to be awakened. And you got to be awakened to the hypocrisy of the woke and the political correct. Look at those Brat Packers, those guys that built Vegas, they're turning over in their graves going, what the hell is going on here? And there's not enough strong enough voice to compel people. It seems to be maybe a little more so that they're getting, but it's a dangerous thing. I wrote about it in 2014 on Breitbart, how the insidious political correctness is destroying the American spirit. It's about the American spirit. It's not about black or white or Asian or this. It's the American spirit that's being decimated by the left and some on the right. And I'm sorry,
smothered.
You disagree. Yeah.
Well, Robert, this has been a total thrill. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Jeff.
And let's talk again soon. You stay well.
I hope so. God bless. Take care. And when you talk to Tony, give him my love.
I will. I'm going to call him right now.
All right.
Thank you, brother.
Bye.